Good afternoon, folks. Hope everyone's okay and well. Going to do something a little bit different today. It's a little scenario that's on the Warlord Games website for the Crimean War, and it is the charge of the Light Brigade. It's on for black powder. It's on an extremely small table. It's 3 foot by 3 foot, and not many units. So it'll be. I think it's down as lasting 6 turns, but I suspect it could be over a lot quicker than that. So let's have a look at what we have. So just bring this over. So this is the scenario. It's called Charge the Guns. So it's on a 3 by 3 table, and then certain points are marked off. So you've got deployment, British deployment within 6 inches. Then you got a 12-inch zone 1, followed by a 12-inch zone 2. And then Russian deployment 6 inches. For the Russians, you have 1 battery and 2 line battalions. So those are my recently painted line battalions. Although this one's actually a guards battalion, but we use it for the same. And obviously the battery in the middle. And then for the British, we've got 3 units of cavalry, which is my light brigade, which if you've seen my videos previously, you'll recognise. So in these rules, they are down. The light brigade units are down as small units, I believe. So that's the Russians there. Quick look. Yeah. So the cavalry units, the British cavalry units are down as small units. Whereas you can see the the Russian line are actually stamina 4. Foot artillery standard stamina 2. So it's on a kind of a victory points basis. So according to this little scenario, if you have, after each turn, the British player gains 1 victory point if he's in zone 1. I don't know if it doesn't say per unit. Oh yes, for each unit in zone 1 is 1 victory point. For each unit in zone 2 is 2 victory points. And for each unit in zone 3, which is basically the Russian deployment zone, it's 3 points. They also gain 2 victory points for each Russian unit killed. The Russians, a bit more simpler. Theirs is simply they gain 3 points for each British unit killed. So obviously theirs is a maximum of 9 points. So it should be quite a quick one for me to play on my own today. So we'll give it a bash and see how it goes. I can see a potential issue. In black powder, the cavalry can move 18 inches, but they could get 3 turns, 3 movement turns in 1 turn, which means they could hit the guns pretty much straight away before the guns can do anything. So I'm going to change it slightly. I'm going to do a successful. They can only move once per turn, and a successful order will move them from zone to zone. I think that's better, because otherwise the whole brigade could literally hit the guns with guns can't even have a chance to fire. There are a little bit of modifications in the rules as well for the artillery, or the firepower coming from the sides of the valley. Basically, they get each unit rolls a d6, and on a 1 they immediately become disordered. So we'll try it this way first. We'll try they can only do a maximum of 1 move into each zone. So it would take them at least 3 moves, if they got successful orders, 3 moves to get all the way to the Russians. Otherwise it might be over very, very quickly. So we'll do that. Okay, so I did that. They could only move 1 turn. I also decided not to do allow brigade moves, brigade orders. So it is per unit. Thankfully for the British, each cavalry unit did actually pass. They got below 7 for each one. So they all moved forward 1 move. So that was the British cavalry turn, and now we're about to go on to the Russians. So we'll probably do the artillery first, I think. It's just 1 battery, although there are 2 guns there, it's only 1 battery. So they get 2 dice, hitting on 4s, 5s and 6s. So don't know if you can split your fire in these rules. It's not something I've done before. I think we'll assume you can. I may be wrong. But first one we'll go for is the lancers over here. These ones. So 4, 5 or 6. Nope. And next gun will be on the hussars. No. So Russian artillery's not doing well. So then we go on to the muskets. I'll just check what range they normally are. So for muskets, smoothbore muskets, 18 inches. Which, just literally half an inch out anyway. So that'll be it for turn 1. So the only thing left to do, well, 2 things left to do. First of all, they have to have fire from the side. So each unit rolls a dice. So we'll go for the lancers first. Nope. Second unit, the hussars. Nope. And third unit is the dragoons at the back. No, so they don't get any fire from the sides that would cause them to be disordered. So that is starting off with, that's turn 1 with 3 victory points so far for the British cavalry. And then I'll make a little note of that. Make sure they get a marker so we know they've got 3 victory points. And then we'll move on to turn 2. Okay, turn 2 for the British cavalry. 2 successful command rolls and 1 failed roll. So unfortunately for Lord Cardigan, it was his Hussars regiment that failed. The other 2 are now in zone 2. So we'll do the artillery first, I think. Don't think it's 6 inches. Let's have a look. Actually, yes, just on 6 inches, so they get a close fire. So it'll be 3 dice. Again, I think I'll split it. Like I say, I might be wrong with doing that with these rules, but I think it's more practical for this particular scenario. So we'll do the lancers first, hitting on 4, 5s or 6s. I don't think there's any modifiers for close. Oh, there is a modifier for close range yet, so hitting on 3, 4, 5s or 6s. Oh, so that's 2 hits. And the other one will go on the newly moved up dragoons. 3, 4, 5, 6s, which is a miss. So I need to do saving throws now. That's at close range, so it's a -2, I believe. I'll just double check that. Yeah, -2, so they can only save on 6s. They do not, so they're 2 hits. Well, as they're stamina 2, that's not good for them. But they've not gone over their stamina yet. But then again, we've not done the Russian fire yet. So let's do that. So the Russians are quite poor at shooting. They've only got a shooting value of 2. I think the standard is normally 3, isn't it? So shooting value of 2. So this line battalion here is obviously going to have a pop at the lancers. Don't think that classes as. Oh yeah, it is still classes as close range. Yeah, so it still classes as close range. So they get hitting on 3 pluses. And they got another hit, and it's a disorder. So we'll attempt to save that. No modifier. Is there a modifier for close range? I don't think there is for morale. No. So it's a standard 4, 5 or 6 to save. And it's a 5, so they save it, but they are disordered now. Okay. And so if we go on to the next Russian unit. Again, 2 dice, hitting on 3 pluses against the dragoons this time. Oh, just the 1 this time. No disorder. So saving on 4, 5s and 6s. No, they don't save that one. Okay. So that's one hit for them, and 2 in the disorder for the for the Lancers. So we'll now do the roll that you have to do for artillery or units that are firing from the side. I believe there was some infantry and artillery on the flanks at the time. So we'll do. I mean, this is for disorder, so it's a bit pointless. I don't think having a double disorder makes any difference. I suppose if they get another change in the rule, if they get another disorder, then we'll say they have to take a morale check, which they would probably pass. But here we go. Nope, they don't anyway. So the next one is the Dragoons. It's a 5, so no. And the poor Hussars who are lagging behind, see if they get caught in a bit of sniper fire. No, nope, they don't. So that's turn 2. Okay, so I'm just quickly mounting up in my head at whether the Russians can't win now because they're already in zone 2. So although the Hussars are still in zone 1, so Hussars get an extra 1 victory point. The Dragoons get 2 victory points because they're in zone 2, and even though they're disordered, the Lancers get 2 victory points for being in zone 2. So a total of 8. So they only need 1 more victory point to equal any chance of the Russian player getting a victory here. So let's move on to turn 3. The Russians hopefully can do something a bit more better with their artillery. Although they did cause 2 casualties on that turn, didn't they? So it didn't do too bad. So we'll move on to turn 3. Okay, so British have completed their turn 3. The Lancers were disordered, so they couldn't move any way. The Dragoons failed their order, so they couldn't charge. Obviously, their option was to charge the guns. But the Hussars did move up into the next zone. So this is kind of an evolving scenario, because I think there's quite a few flaws in this scenario. But I think I'm going to make it so that if a unit's distorted, it can't have the victory points. So without being mean, I'm going to take those 2 victory points back off the Lancers. Let's give the Russians at least some chance of winning this scenario. Right, so we'll move on to the Russians. So we'll do the artillery first again, close range again, 3 dice. They will split their fire. Yeah, I think two dice on the poor Lancers, hitting on 3s. Ooh, disordered again, and 2 hits. So saving throw, or 4, 5, or 6. Sorry, 6 because it's artillery at close range. No, so they will definitely take a morale check because they are now on 4. Okay, so they're well shaken. So we had 1 more dicey artillery, which we will use on the Dragoons. So again, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Yep, just. And saving on a 6 for the Dragoons. No. So they're just reaching their stamina now, but we've still got the infantry to fire. So the first infantry unit hitting on, did we say at close range? It's classed close and fire, isn't it? So hitting on 3s. For this unit against the Lancers. That's a good point actually. I'm trying to think whether you do morale check at end of all the firing or as each unit. Yeah. Because if there's another potential unit, that unit could actually be gone. We'll go with for the moment at the end of the firing. So they're going to shoot at them, hitting on 3 pluses. Oh no, hits anyway, so that didn't matter at all, did it? And the other infantry unit over here, again hitting on 3 pluses against the Dragoons. There's a chance to get them over their stamina today. Oh no, bad throws. Yeah. So the infantry aren't doing very well. The artillery, as historical, the Russian artillery are very good. The infantry that's shooting are pretty poor. Okay, so we'll do a morale check. On a 2. It's -3, isn't it? Because it's disordered as well. Let's have a look. This is for the lancers. Or do we do this? Let's do the... Yeah, this is where it gets a bit complicated, a bit out of order because of this extra rule as well. So we'll do the side fire first. Although it's not going to make a difference to them anyway because they get a morale check. But it would make a difference for any morale checks over there. Which they don't need to check. Them. Yeah, ignore me. So we'll just do the morale check with -3 for these. Which is 5. 5. Well, 8 -3. So let's have a look what 5 is. 5 shooting. Retires 1 move. Once it's moved, it becomes disordered. Okay. So they are going to move 1 full move back and stay disordered. We'll do the disordered side fire that you could probably get, possibly get from the. I'm not gonna make them do another morale check if they get disordered on here, so I would be pointless doing them. Just these 2 here. So the dragoons, nope, and the hussars, no. So at the end of that, I'll do the movement back for the lancers in a minute. But we have 2 victory points for the dragoons and 2 victory points for the hussars. Which means that they're going to get a win against the Russians. Doesn't mean they're going to survive though. So let's see what sort of things can happen once I've moved the lancers back 1 full move. We'll see what happens on the next turn. Okay, so the British cavalry have moved. Both successful command rolls, so both successful charges. We are going to allow the Russians to do closing fire. I think it's only fair, particularly with the victory points seem to be a little bit swayed in favour of the British. So we'll at least let them do some closing fire. So we'll do that now. So we'll do the infantry first for a change. So they're hitting on 3s. Only 1, and it's saving on 4, 5, 6. It's not artillery. Oh no, doesn't save though. So that's just the 1, and then the faithful Russian artillery. So they are hitting on 3s again. Oh, and wedged in there is a 5. There we go, so 4 and a 5, only saving on 6s this time. Oh, oh, you look at that. Okay, charmed life, these dragoons. So they save both of those. With regards to the other battalion there, now they didn't get charged, but I don't think you can do closing fire if you didn't get charged. Okay, we'll say no then, because they didn't get charged. I may be wrong again. I may be wrong with quite a few of the rules today. Right, so that's the charging done, and then we shall do the melee. Okay, so we'll do the combat. I don't normally film like this. I normally do all the results and everything, and then just do a little bit of a recap. So this is probably why you don't see as many mistakes as what I'm making on this game. So we'll carry on. So let's have a look. We have the British cavalry. Just go around with the sheet. So these are hussars, and they have a hand-to-hand of 4. These are the lancers that actually had a better hand-to-hand, but the hussars have a hand-to-hand of 4, so it's 4 dice. They're charging, so they're hitting on 3 pluses. Remember? Okay. I presume, to be honest, the infantry would have an option to change into square, wouldn't they? I'm trying to think. Was there any instance? And obviously the 93rd, when they were charged, they didn't change into square, but even though they did have the option. I don't know of any other times where British cavalry charged Russian infantry and they changed into square. I don't know any other times of when they actually charged Russian line infantry. You'd imagine they would have an option to go into square. I know mostly they were in column anyway, although we've got them in line here. So we'll say they don't go into square. Well, we'll see. So let's just leave the square rule for now. Just for this one. So obviously, when I start doing proper battles and bigger battles, I'll look it up. So where were we? Yes, 4 dice. So 4 dice hitting on 3s. So that's 3 hits for the Russians, and they can save. I don't think there's a modifier. Oh, actually, sorry. The cavalry are ferocious charge, so they can reroll. So they can reroll one of their misses. Oh, which is a miss anyway. So right. So yeah. So saving throw. Nope, I don't think there's anything unusual, different or unusual, so they need 4, 5s and 6s to save. So we got 2 saves. Fighting back, they have a, wow, okay, hand-to-hand of 5. Guess they were better at fighting then. They didn't charge, so they get the attack of standard 4, 5 or 6 hits to hit with 5 dice. So that is not bad. Saving throws for the hussars, 4, 5 or 6s, just a 1. So they will be taking a morale check. First of all, I think well, there's a second morale check anyway, but first of all we have to work out the losers and winners. So this is the bit that always gets me a little bit, trying to work this out. So here we are, combat results. So support, I don't think they can class the artillery support. Oh, this would have been handy, square versus cavalry, so if they had gone into square, that would definitely help. But they're on a +1 anyway, because of the combat resolution, so that means, is that a straight thing, or do you die? Do you all die? I know it's just a straight, no, it's just a straight result, isn't it? So the British will take a morale check with a -1. That's pretty good. So they will be fine. It looks like they're going into the next round of combat anyway. Okay, so now we're on to the artillery. Now, this shouldn't go as in favour of the Russians as much. So we'll do the cavalry first. Again, they are dragoons, so they don't get a hand-to-hand of 5, only hand-to-hand of 4, and they're hitting on 3s. That's pretty good. So every 1 a hit, don't need to reroll. So the Russians are saving on 4 pluses. Oh, actually, just double check that, just in case there's a rule for the fact that they are artillery. No, don't seem to be. No, doesn't seem to be. Strange, you'd think it would be, but so they're saving on 4s. They only save 1. Oh, there we go. Sorry, my camera works terrible. So they save 1. So they got 3 hits. Obviously their stamina is only 2 anyway, so they'll be taking a test. But they do get to fight back. So they are a measly 1, hitting on 4, 5 or 6. they don't. So that one was in favour of the British by 2. Yep. So now the Russian artillery needs to take a morale check on with a -1. Just check whether there's anything for losing combat. No, doesn't seem to be. Okay, so just a standard -1. This is for the morale check after the combat result. Which gives them a 6. So what's a 6? Let's have a look. Hand to hand, infantry, artillery, the unit breaks and is deemed destroyed. Remove the entire unit from the field. Well done, dragoons. Okay, so that's where we are now with the combat. So the Russian infantry managed to fight the Hussars and will go into a second round of combat, and the dragoons managed to break the artillery. So the next thing to do is the fire from the sides. Not quite how you can shoot into. I suppose you have the choice. You could shoot into a melee from the units on the sides. Why not? Eh? We'll throw one for the Hussars first. See if they're disordered. They are not. Let's throw one for the line infantry. Again, a bit of friendly fire. They are not either. And then last one for these guys here. They are not. Okay, so that side fire is not doing anything. So victory points. They're in zone 3 now. Well, these victory points are mounting up, aren't they? So it's got 3 for the Hussars and 3 for the Dragoons. And we said because the other unit was disordered, the Lancers, they only get they got none. So that's a lot of victory points. Whew. Okay, so we'll move on to the next turn, which losing count already. Turn 5, I'm going to say. I think it's turn 5. We'll see. Okay, so I've just done the movement for the British. The Lancers were disordered, so they've gone nowhere. The Hussars are currently in melee with the Russian infantry battalion, so they're gone nowhere. And then we did I did the Dragoons, so they got to charge the other battalion. I have given the option of movement. I've had a quick look through the rules, and yeah, they should have gone into square before. So on the Russian movement phase, they had the option to go into square, which will make a difference when it comes back to the combat resolution, and it would have made a big difference. Oh, actually, it wouldn't have made a difference on this because it was only they won anyway, even though they were in line. So because they are very good at fighting, the Russians. So we shall move on to shooting. Although the shooting wise, I will double check. Let me just have a quick look about the square. I think they can still shoot, but they can only shoot with 1 dice, which doesn't make that much difference because the Russians only had 2 dice anyway. So we shall do that first. So hitting on 3s because it's close range. So they got 1. Also, it might make a difference. And the British are going to save on 4, 5, or 6, which they save. So no, it didn't make a difference. So we'll jump straight into the combat. So we'll start off with these. Already the Hussars are shaken, but they do have 4 dice to play with for combat. So I don't believe they get the charging bonus now. So it's just 4, 5s, or 6s. Actually, just check what they disordered makes a difference. I think it's on combat, isn't it? Shaken or disordered is -1. So they're only hitting on 5s and 6s. There we go. Oh, that's very bad. They've got Ferocious Charge, but I would presume Ferocious Charge could only be used on that initial charge. I don't. That's the way I read it anyway. Please somebody let me know if that is wrong. So that's fails, 4 fails. So we'll do the Russian Line Battalion. 2 dice, hitting on 4, 5s and 6s. No. So there's stalemate going on there. So we'll move over to, but you still have to do the combat resolution, don't you? Add that up, which would be nothing really, because I thought the shaking might have something to do with it, but it doesn't look like it is. I'm just going off the quick reference sheet at the moment, so so it looks like it's just a standard straight draw, which I have a quick glance. So this is why I do all the workings and just do a quick brief recap. So let's have a quick look. I think if it's a draw, nothing happens. Draws. In case of a draw, then all cavalry units on both sides that are not shaken and which would therefore not have to make a break test would. Oh, so you make a break test if you're shaken. I was always assumed it was if you're over shaken. If you're shaken, you've just gone over your shaken, but it seems to be if you're shaken. Break test will obviously retire 1 move, so they have to move anyway. Retire 1 move, so they will be retiring 1 move. So let's go on to the other combat. Okay, again, the cavalry have 4 dice, hitting on 4, 5s and 6s. 1, don't get the full. Oh, actually, they did charge, didn't they? So they do get full rerolls. And boy, did that make a difference. Okay, so the Russians are saving on 4, 5s and 6s. You'd think they'd be better in square though. I know they have the +3 on the combat result, but okay, saving on 4, 5s and 6s. 2. But they got quite good stamina, so they should. Well, they will be fine. Okay, let's go back to the Russians fighting back. Sorry, I know I keep referring to the rules. I'm just thinking if there's a modifier for hand-to-hand if you are in square. Doesn't seem to be. Okay. Probably messed all these rules up today. So they just got the 2 on 4, 5s and 6s, which they. There we go. Which doesn't matter anyway. So at the moment it's 2-0 to the cavalry, but they are against a square, which is a +3 for the infantry. So it is a victory for the cavalry. Sorry, for the infantry, which means they have to retire anyway. I'm going to stick to my rule that it's once you're shaking, it's when you get the next hit, not when you're just because you're shaken. I'm probably wrong, but that's what I've always played, so that's what I'll stick to. So on this move, this cavalry unit will retire, and this cavalry unit will retire, and we still got the 1 disordered now. So I'm probably going to call it there. Yeah, it's not the best scenario, I don't think. I think it could be modified to make it better, as in a longer table or longer charge, definitely. Obviously there's no disorders from the sides, which made a difference, because obviously that would have then slowed the cavalry down. I think it was better using it from moving from zone to zone once per turn, rather than the ridiculous, 3 times 18-inch move. But I think the victory points are weighed heavily in favour of the British, just by being in a particular zone. They get 3 points. So if they're in zone 3, which is mostly where they are now at the end of the turn, Although to be fair, at the end of this turn they wouldn't be because they're retreating. But even so, it's quite easy for them to rack up those victory points, and the only way the Russians can get victory points is by, well, it says destroying a unit. So retiring just isn't good enough. You've got to destroy them. So I like the concept. It's an interesting scenario to do the Charge of Light Brigade. I just think it needs changing. So if I would like to have another go at it with a few changes. So if anyone's got any ideas to make it better, and obviously more historical, and not as favoured in the British cavalry's sense, because like I say, the victory points are very much in favour of them. Then yeah, by all means let me know. I have messed up a lot on the rules because I'm normally taking my time a little bit more and working things out, and then obviously if I make a mistake I can just go back and consort it, and then I do a little recap on video, whereas this has just been going along as we have been. So anyway, hope you found it a little bit interesting. Like I say, it is okay scenario, but I think it needs quite a bit of change to make it a bit more practical. So yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoy. Cheers.